signal flow graph and Mason's gain formula we have seen. So everything basic terms, that is what is a node, what is an input node, output node and mixed node we have seen, and what is a branch, path, forward path, loop, non-touching loops, self loop. Okay, so these are the terms involved in signal flow graph. Now how to construct a signal flow graph that we have seen from the mathematical model. So first we have to write the equations, the given mathematical equations in cause and effect form. So from based on the equations, using this first individual equations, we can draw an individual signal flow graph. Later we can combine all these 5 equations to get the overall signal flow graph for the entire system. Okay. So here, so we have learned about how to draw, how to represent an individual equation, mathematical equation as a signal flow graph. And finally, so we have added all these to get the overall signal flow graph. Okay. That's what we have seen in the last class. And also conversion of block diagram from the signal flow. So these are the steps involved. The first we have to represent the variables. Okay, first we have to identify all the junctions, takeoff points, summing points, and everything, all the branches. Okay, they are represented as a nodes for the signal flow graph, and the next representation of blocks of block diagram as a branches. So each and every block is next converted into branches. Next, representation of transfer function inside the block as a gain of the branch in signal flow. So the transfer function is represented by gain, the block is represented by branch, and all the junctions are represented by variables. Okay. Now finally you will get, if there is no gain in between two nodes, we have to represent it with a unit gain. Okay. So that we have seen. Now let us construct a block diagram. Let us construct SFG from a block diagram. So this is, please try to note down this figure. In the last class, we have stopped here due to some technical problem. I think something has happened to internet. Because of that, we have stopped here. So let us draw this figure. So this is a block diagram representation of a control system. Okay. A mathematical model the control system can be represented with a mathematical model, or a block diagram model, or a signal flow graph model, or a transfer function model. We can represent the same control system in many ways. That is a physical system, physical model, mathematical model, block diagram representation, otherwise signal flow graph representation, and finally the transfer function model. There are many ways. Okay, so now, so this is the block diagram representation. Now how to convert this block diagram into a signal flow graph? First step we have to identify, this is an input node where only the output branches are available. Okay, so this is an input node R of S. Okay, so this where R of S is an input, and each and every junction we have to represent with a variable. This is Y1. Next junction may be a summing point or a takeoff point, anything we can represent with a variable. So here from here to here, this is a second variable y2. In between these two, so that is represented, the gain is represented by unit value. So again, in between these two blocks, again we have to represent one more node. From this branch to this node to this node, we have to represent the signal is flowing in this direction. So since this is input node, so finally y of s is an output node. So in this direction, this is called as a forward path direction. So we have represented with y2. Similarly, this junction y3. So node as y3 variable. So in between y1, y2 and y3, gain value, which is nothing but the transfer function of this block. Okay. The transfer function is replaced with a branch, and the gain is represented, the transfer function is represented with a gain. Again, at this takeoff point, we can take either a takeoff point or any summing point. Again, we have to represent with a variable y4. So from here to here, again, this block is represented with a branch, and branch gain is G2. Again, one more variable. The summing point, again, we have to consider. So we have to consider all the summing points, takeoff points, and the intermediate points in between the two blocks. Okay. So everything we have to consider with a, we have to represent with a system variable. So here the system variables are y1, y2, y3, y4, y6, y5, y6, y7, y8, y9. So once we can able to represent the system variables, that means identification of junctions. So identification of nodes or a junction. So here if we observe, so this is a junction. So where the signal are meeting here. Okay, here one more junction. Again, signals are meeting at this point. So again, so in between these two, we have to consider a junction. So with at this junction, the two blocks are connected at this point. That's why we have to represent this with a node. Okay. Similarly, here it is also incoming signal, outgoing signal, and one more outgoing signal. Again, this can also be considered as a node. So this point, again, this is a summing point where the signals can be added. Here one more takeoff point. So here one more summing point. Again, one more takeoff point. Each and every point we have to represent with a variable. Once we can able to identify the variables, our work is finished. Maximum our work is finished. Okay. Once we fix the variables, simply how many variables are there? Total 9 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dots. Okay, up to 9. So here input signal R. So here it is outgoing signal Y, Y of S, R of S. So from Y1 to Y2. So from Y1 to Y2. So we have unit gain. So from Y1, Y2 to Y3. So we have a gain value of G1. Okay. So from Y3 to Y4, again, so we have one more gain. So this is point Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4, Y5. Please note down Y6, Y7, Y8, Y9, and so on. Okay. So similarly, from Y2 to Y3 to Y4, Y3 to Y4, it is G2. So Y4 to Y5 again, there is no gain, so we have to represent it with unit gain. Y5 to Y6, again there is no gain, so that is represented by unit value. Y6 to Y7, G3. Y7 to Y8, again unit value. Y8 to Y9, again with a G5. Okay, output y outputs. Okay, that shows the forward path direction. So now the other loops. Okay, from, if we consider from here, so it is having input y1. One signal is entering at this point. So at y1, this signal is coming from y8. So in this direction, whose gain value is h2 plus h2. See here, we have to observe. Here it is positive sign. So we have to consider this h2. We have to multiply with positive plus 1. So the gain value becomes plus h2. Is it clear? From y8 to y1, the signal travels from y8 to y1, and its gain value is h2. Similarly, again, if I observe at y2, one more signal is coming from y4. So y4 to y2, here the gain value is minus h1. Okay, since this is negative feedback, so that we have to consider multiply with h1, you will get minus h1. So from y4 to y2, the signal is traveling in this direction, that is minus h2. Again, one more at y5, that signal is coming from y9. So y9 to y5, okay, whose gain value is minus h3. Since it is negative sign, multiply with h3, that is coming from junction y9. So the direction of arrow is in this direction, minus h3. Now the next junction, so y6. Y6, again one more forward path, that is up to y7. Y6 to y7, signal direction is forward direction, so it is, whose gain is G4 plus G4. Okay, here it is positive sign, multiply with this one, you will get plus. So that completes signal flow. Is there any loop missing? So only hardly 4 branches. Okay, so one forward path, it's 4 other branches. Okay, we have converted the block diagram into a signal flow graph. The first step is we have to identify the junctions or nodes and fix the variables from starting input node to output node. Once we fix the junctions, the other thing is very simple. Draw the lines according to the arrows given in block diagram. Okay, so that completes our signal flow. This was the signal flow graph. So if we draw neatly, so you will get a signal flow graph that is in this fashion. If you have any doubts, you can raise. Any doubts regarding conversion, how to convert a block diagram into signal flow graph? Just note down this figure. Okay. Any doubts? How to convert a signal flow graph, block diagram into a signal flow graph? A very simple technique. To identify the junctions, each and every junction. Okay. So according to the junctions, put variables y1 to y6 or x1 to x6. Anything, any variable can be fixed from input node to output nodes. And now try to represent the branches according to the sign given at the feedback or forward paths. Okay, have you finished? Next. So Mason's gain formula. So this is a very powerful formula given by S.J. Mason to get the overall transfer function in a single step. So overall transfer function in a single step. So this is the transfer function. C of S is output, R of S is input. C of S by R of S is equal to sigma n is equal to 1. I is equal to 1 to n. P I delta I by delta. This was the formula given by S.J. Mason. Once we can able to find out this delta, P and N, everything, delta I, Pi and delta. So directly we can substitute to get the overall transfer. In case of block diagram reduction technique, we have to apply some algebraic rules. Okay, some block diagram algebra rules. Okay, based on that algebra, block diagram algebra, we have to follow certain procedure, step-by-step procedure to get the overall transfer function. Okay, there is no systematic procedure to get the overall transfer function. We can move a takeoff point after a summing point, or we can move a summing point after a before a ahead of a summing ahead of a takeoff point. We can move in any directions to get the overall transfer function. Similarly, we can split a summing point. We can merge two summing points. Okay, to get the overall transfer function, we can do any sort of things. There is no systematic procedure to get the overall transfer function. But in case of signal flow graph, using Mason's gain formula, we have to follow a certain systematic procedure. And once we calculate all the delta values and p values, so directly we can get the transfer function in a single step. So here it is. So where Pi delta I by delta, C of S is output, R of S is input, where T is the overall transfer function, Pi is the ith forward path. For example, in our graph, there may be two forward paths. So forward path means from input to output, the signal can be flow in two directions. Okay, one is based on the signal. If we observe the previous example, so this is the first input node. This was the output node. The first forward path is directly this signal can be passed to the main line, so it reaches to Y of X. Okay. The second forward path is, so there is the same signal is traveling towards this and up to this point Y6, and again it takes G4 branch and it reaches to the final one. Okay, the signal can be traveled in this direction also to get the final. There may be two ways or there may be number of ways. Again, here we have to follow a rule. No node is traversed more than once. That we have to remember. Either a forward path or a loop or anything. While calculating, while identifying the forward paths, no node is traversed more than once. So again, same thing. This is one more forward path. To reach this is one more way to reach the final goal or destination. Okay. So now, So this is the formula. Once we identify, for example, there are two forward paths. P1 becomes P1 is gain of that particular forward path, first forward path. P2 becomes n becomes 2. So P1 delta 1 plus P2 delta 2. P2 is it is gain of second delta second forward path. Okay, once we know that identified that forward paths, next we have to identify delta 1 and delta 2. So what is delta? Delta 1 and delta 2. It is determinant of the graph. Delta is called as determinant of the entire signal flow graph. Okay, how to calculate this delta? Simply delta is equal to 1 minus sum of all individual loops. So first we have to identify the individual loops just by adding all individual loops. 1 minus sum of all individual loops plus sum of gain products of all two non-touching loops. Okay, so here we have to identify the two non-touching loops and product of that two loops, gain product of those two loops, we have to substitute here. Okay, that we'll see in the while solving a problem. Okay, sum of gain products of all possible combinations of two non-touching loops. Similarly, minus sum of gain products of all possible combinations of three non-touching loops and so on. Okay, most commonly, so in any problem up to second, two non-touching loops maximum will get. Okay, it is not possible to get three non-touching loops. Okay, so only delta is up to, but try to remember this formula. So 1 minus single individual loops, sum of individual loops plus sum of two non-touching, all possible combinations of two non-touching loops minus sum of gain products of all possible combinations of three non-touching loops and so on. Okay, now how to calculate this delta 1 and delta 2. So delta 1 and delta 2 is very easy to calculate. Delta 1 is obtained by delta, that is determinant of the first forward path. How to calculate this determinant of first forward path and determinant of the second forward path? So in this case, delta is obtained by delta by removing the loops which are not in touch with forward. Okay, first forward path. So that is equal to, how to calculate delta I, delta 1, that is 1 minus, okay, the loops which are not in touch with that path. Okay, sum of individual loops which are not in contact with that forward path. So generally most of the cases, all the loops are in contact with first forward path. So that becomes 0. So delta 1 becomes 1. Okay, because 1 minus the loops which are not in touch with that forward path. Okay, so delta becomes that is delta 1 becomes delta. Similarly, delta 2 is also the loops which are not in contact with second forward path. Again, most of the cases that is also 0. Maybe in some cases 1 or 2 loops may be not in contact with that particular forward path. So in that case, that we have to substitute 1 minus that gains of that particular loops, L1 and L2 loops. Okay, so like that we have to calculate delta 1, delta 2. So that means while solving, while applying this Mason's gain formula, first we have to identify the forward paths. Second step, we have to identify the loops. Next step, we have to identify the non-touching loops, 2 non-touching loops, 3 non-touching loops, 4 non-touching loops. Next, calculation of delta. Once we calculate these loops, loop gains, directly we can get delta by substituting using this formula, and delta 1, delta 2. Okay, once we get all these value, directly we can get the transfer function. Okay, so hardly it may take 5 to 10 minutes. to solve to get the overall transfer function. Whereas in case of signal flow graph, a little bit. Whereas in case of a block diagram reduction technique, it may take 15 to 20 minutes to reduce all the blocks. Whereas in case of if we use Mason's gain formula, hardly it may take maximum 10 minutes. Okay. So any complex method can be, any complex graph can be reduced using this Mason's gain formula. Next. So we have to apply Mason's gain formula to calculate transfer function for this particular signal flow. Okay. So try to identify the forward paths. మీరు కూడా మైక్స్ ఆన్ చేసి మాట్లాడచ్చు. బట్ ఒకటి ఏంటంటే అందరూ ఒకే సైమల్టేనియస్ గా ఆన్ చేయకండి. ఎవరైతే ఆన్సర్ ఐడెంటిఫై చేసి చెప్దాం అనుకుంటున్నారో వాళ్ళు ఆన్ చేయండి. ఓకే. Anybody is interested? If you have any doubts, you can raise immediately. Okay. Okay. Now, the first step, this is the graph given. Directly, signal flow graph is given. So, to find out the overall transfer function, our aim is to find out the forward paths. First forward path is from input to out. So first forward path P1. So here the gain, so that is gain of this branch multiplied with gain of this branch multiplied with gain of this branch, and similarly, so that is the gain of the first forward path is A into B into C into D into E. What is ABCD? That is nothing but transfer functions. Okay. Otherwise, gain of this branch multiplied with this. Everything is connected in cascade. So directly we'll get the first forward path gain as A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So and one more forward path we can identify. The signal can be traversed up to this point. Again, it can take in this direction. And finally, it reaches the final destination. So second forward path, that is P2, which is equal to, it's A, B, C, G, and E. That is second forward path gain. Okay. Next. Is there any other path? So we can consider this as path. Sir, we can travel in this direction and we can take this one. Sir, shall we take this as a forward path? No. So our condition is no node is traversed more than once. So that's why we cannot consider this path as a forward path. Okay. So only two forward paths. So number of forward paths, that is 2. The first forward path is y1 to y2, y2 to y3, y3 to y4, y4, y5, and y6. Okay, its forward path gain, and similarly second forward path and its forward path gain is. Note down this. Okay, next. Identification of loops. How to identify these loops? So how many loops are there? Loop means the starting point and ending point should be the same. So this is first loop L1. So L1 loop gain value is, branch gain is B, here branch gain is J, the loop gain becomes B and J. The individual loop, what I am finding is here, individual loops, first loop, second loop, if we consider the second loop as this loop, this becomes the second loop, starting and ending point is same. L2 becomes C into D into H. That is the total individual loop. Starting point is from this node and no node is traversed more than once, it reaches the same. Now similarly, L3 is third loop. So if we observe this loop, this can be taken as third loop. So D into I. Okay, this is third loop. No node is traversed more than once in this loop. Okay, that's why I have called individual loops. Okay, so one more loop L4. So if we consider one more loop L4, so this is, so if we observe, this is self loop. Okay, branch gain of F. Okay, and now the one more loop, that is L5. So anybody please? So one more loop is there. That is, so if we observe this starting point starts from G and reaches to Y2, and again it reaches again back to, in this case, the gain becomes, loop gain becomes G into H. Okay. Any doubts regarding identification of loops? Anything regarding identification of loops?
సార్ L5 ఇంకొకసారి చెప్పదా?
L5
L5 yes.
Okay. So starting node, that is Y3. Okay. So if we observe, the signal is flowing in this direction. Again, it reaches to Wi-Fi node, and again one more feedback it is. So if we take in this direction, H. Okay. Again, it reaches to Y3 node. So this becomes an individual loop. Starting point and ending point should be the same. So this is G, and here it is H. This becomes loop 5. So loop 4 is only individual loop. So loop 4. Loop 3 is signal is D and flowing in this direction. Again reaches to same thing. Okay, if we draw in this individual loops, we can able to understand easily. So first loop with a gain of B, again feedback signal J reaches to same junction. Okay, so like that we can identify individual loops. Okay, is it okay? For loop 2, branch is C, here it is D, again loop gain is H, again reaches to C. So these are the 5 individual loops. Is it clear? So individual loop gains. First we can identify individual loops and find out its gains. Okay. So next. Is it clear? So these are the total loops. Total 5 loops. So first loop is B into J, second loop G into H. So here it is given something in this fashion. Second loop, third loop, fourth loop, and fifth. Okay, identification of loops. Next, identification of non-touching loops. Non-touching loops means there are 2 non-touching loops. So in here, So this is our graph. So if we observe this loop and this loop, they are not in contact. Okay, if we have, there is no common node for these two loops. That's why they are called as non-touching loops. Okay, is it clear? So loop B into J and F. So this is B into J into F. These two loops are non-touching loops. Again, so one more, if we observe, this is loop and this is another loop. These two loops are not in contact. Those two are called non-touching loops. They are not in contact to each other. Okay, if we consider these two loops, they are in contact at this junction. So if we take these two loops, they are in contact with this branch. If we consider this loop and this loop, they are contact at this junction. Okay, so they cannot be considered as non-touching loops. Only two set of number of. So here we have to identify all possible combinations of two non-touching loops. First loop with second loop, whether they are in contact or not. First loop with the third loop, they are not, they are contact in, or they are in contact or not. First loop with fourth one, first loop with fifth one. Okay. Similarly, second loop with first one, second loop with third one, second loop with fourth one, second loop with fifth one. Like that, we have to check all possible combinations. Okay. All possible combinations of two non-touching loops. So here only two sets. Number of two non-touching loops, that is only two loops. First loop set is these two, and second one is these two. Like that, we have to calculate the gain products. Is it clear? మా అర్థం అవుతుందా? ఒకసారి చెప్పండి, అర్థం కాకపోతే మళ్ళీ రిపీట్ చేస్తాను. ఇక్కడ మీకు నాన్ టచింగ్ లూప్స్ అంటే కంపల్సరీ కామన్ నోడ్ ఏది ఉండకూడదు. ఈ రెండు నాన్ టచింగ్ లూప్స్. ఓకే, అగైన్ వన్ మోర్ లూప్ మే బి దేర్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఫస్ట్ లూప్, second loop, third loop, they are not in contact. Okay, there may be number of junctions in between these two. So all possible combination means first and second, they are not in contact. So possible combination, second and third, that is one more two non-touching loops. First and third, again two non-touching loops. So total how many? All possible combinations of two non-touching loops means 1, 2, 2, 3 and 1, 3. There are three possible combinations for this signal flow graph. Okay, three non-touching loops means 1, 2, 3. They are not in contact to each other. Okay, we can take it as three non-touching loops. For example, fourth one is also somewhere here. In that case, 1, 2, 3 one combination, 2, 3, 4 other combination, 3, 4, 1 one more combination. Like that, we have to write all possible combinations. Total, I think you will get 7 combinations. 7 or sorry, how many combinations you will get? 1, 2, 3, hardly 8 combinations, I think. So like that, we can write down all possible combinations of three non-touching loops. Like that, we have to select four non-touching loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are not in touch with each other. So in this case, only one. Okay. So all possible combinations of two non-touching loops. In first, we have to identify individual loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second, all possible combinations of two non-touching loops, all possible combinations of three non-touching loops, 4 non-touching loops. Like that, we have to calculate. Is it clear? So in this case, only two non-touching loops. Okay, first one and this loop, first one and this fourth one. Okay, next, there is no three non-touching loops, therefore we can put 0. Okay, there is no 3 non-touching loops. If we observe, so first one, second one is in contact, first one, third one, first one, second one, and if we consider these 3, they are contact at this junction. So there is no possible combination of 3 non-touching loops. Okay. So now how to find out? So individual loops we have identified, non-touching loops we have identified. Now finding delta 1 and delta 2 delta. So delta means simply write down that delta is equal to 1 minus sum of individual gains of individual loops. That means first loop to fifth loop, L1 plus L2 plus L2 plus L3 and so on up to L5, plus 2 non-touching loops. So again L1, L5 and something L1 and L4. So all possible combinations of 2 non-touching minus 0. There is no 3 non-touching loops. So like that we have to substitute. Once we can identify the individual loops and 2 non-touching loops, 3 non-touching loops, directly we can substitute to find out delta. Okay, so this we have already identified. In first, these are the individual loops, 2 possible combinations. So up to this part. Most of the cases, most of the problems you will get only up to this part. Okay, so in some cases you may get 3 non-touching loops. Okay, 1 or 2, 3 non-touching loops. Hardly 1 maximum possibility. Okay, so now if we substitute, directly we will get delta. Next, how to find out delta 1 and delta 2? This is determinant of the entire graph. Now determinant of the first forward path, determinant of the second forward path. So how to calculate delta 1? Simply delta 1 is equal to 1 minus same as, okay, but the sum of all individual loops which are not contact in first forward path. First forward path is this one. So all the loops are contact with this first forward path. So put 0. So delta 1 becomes 1. Okay. Similarly, determinant of the second forward path. So determinant of this one, second forward path is this one. Again, if we observe L1 that is in contact, L2 is in contact with at this point, L3 is also contact at this point, L4 is also in contact with this one, and L5 is also in contact with this forward path. Okay, that's why delta 2 becomes again 0. If there is any loop, and that means, for example, a loop is something somewhere here with a loop gain of 0. So in this case, that loop is not in contact with the second forward path. So we have to put O or 5 something, not 0. Okay, whose gain value is 5. So put the determinant delta 2 becomes 1 minus that 5 gain value. Okay, is it clear how to find out delta 1 and delta 2? If you have any doubts, you can raise. Now, once we calculate delta 1, delta 2, delta everything, directly substitute in the formula. Delta 1 is 1, delta 2 is 1. There is no loop which is non-touching to first forward path or second forward. Now, directly Mason's gain formula. So that is delta P1 delta 1 plus P2 delta 2 by delta. Now P1 is known, delta 1 is known, everything is known. Substitute and directly you get transfer function. Simply identification of loops. Okay. No mathematical background is necessary to find out or to solve this problem. Anyone can learn this one. So directly you will get T is equal to C of S by R of S. Note down this example. నీకున్న అడ్వాంటేజ్ అదే, కంట్రోల్ సిస్టమ్స్ లో దేనికి దానికి జాగ్రత్తగా నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తే మంచి మార్కులు వస్తాయి. ఫెయిల్ అయ్యే ఛాన్సెస్ లేవు మీరు నేర్చుకుంటే. ఫెయిల్ అయ్యారంటే నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ మీకు చెప్పడానికి ఎవరు ఉంటారు. మళ్ళీ మీ అంతటా మీరు వచ్చి నేర్చుకుని కూర్చుని టైం స్పెండ్ చేస్తారు. అదే టైం ఇప్పుడు స్పెండ్ చేస్తే యూ విల్ గెట్ 60 to 70% మార్క్స్. నేర్చుకుంటే మీరు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తే 90% మార్క్స్. అంటే ప్రాక్టీస్ మీన్స్ అదే ప్రాబ్లమ్ని నేర్చుకున్నవాడు హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్లో చేస్తాడు, ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసిన వాడు 5 minutes లో చేస్తాడు. సో యూ విల్ గెట్ 90% మార్క్స్. డిఫరెంట్ టెక్స్ట్ బుక్స్ లో చూసి నేర్చుకుంటే విల్ గెట్ 100% మార్క్స్. నేను ఆల్రెడీ లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో కూడా చెప్పాను. నేను ఇప్పటిదాకా నాకున్న ఈ 15 to 16 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ లో నేను ఒక 60-70 మందికి వేసి ఉంటాను. 70 out of 70 పేపర్ ఎవాల్యుయేట్ చేస్తాను. 60 to 70 మెంబర్స్ ఈజీలీ. అబౌవ్ 55 అయితే ఒక 100 మెంబర్స్ కన్నా ఎక్కువే ఉంటారు. పేపర్ ఎవాల్యుయేట్ చేసిన ప్రతిసారి నేను చూసుకుంటూ ఉంటాను ఎవరికి వచ్చే 100% మార్క్స్. సో ఇందులో ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ఫంక్షన్ ఓకే, ప్రొసీజర్ చూడటం, ఆన్సర్ చూడటం. ఆన్సర్ కరెక్ట్గా వచ్చింది, ప్రొసీజర్ కరెక్ట్గా ఫాలో అయ్యారు. ప్రొసీజర్ మిస్టేక్ ఉంటే ఆన్సర్ కరెక్ట్గా వచ్చిందంటే పక్కన దాంట్లో చూసారు సార్. సో చూసిన వెంటనే మీకు అర్థమైపోతుంది పేపర్. స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ ప్రొసీజర్, ఆన్సర్. ఫస్ట్ ఆన్సర్ రైట్, ప్రొసీజర్ గుడ్, ఫుల్ మార్క్స్. ఏమి చేసేది. సో either block diagram reduction technique or transfer function model or mechanical systems or rotational systems or translational systems or electrical systems, anything. Answer, procedure. That's it. You will get full marks. Okay. So let us stop for today's session. Tomorrow we'll discuss the advantages and disadvantages, and we'll start the next topic, next chapter. Okay, try to solve as many as you can. Okay, examples. Thank you. Let us stop here the session. Tomorrow, I think morning first hour. If you have any doubts, you can raise. Otherwise, end this session.